Good morning, everybody. Yes. Hello, everybody. I'm Gareth, and this is Leigh-Ann. Hello, Leigh-Ann. Say hello. Hello. And this is Ryan. Look, say hello, Ryan.
Hello.
All right, everybody. I hope you're off to a good start this morning. We have got piles of steaming, amazing news and things to talk to you about this morning. Well, it's amazing, but it's news. There's a lot that happens over a weekend.
Yeah.
Right? Plenty to get stuck into. That's why I like Mondays. Most people, you might be surprised by this, but most people don't like Mondays.
It's so strange.
Yeah.
Favorite day.
No. And personally, I don't have a problem with Mondays.
I know you don't.
Yeah, it's weird. You people have all got very nasty shit things to say behind Monday's back. As soon as Tuesday comes around, you're like, that Monday was horrible.
Mondays are scary, though.
Why?
Also, we were just badly influenced growing up because we were always told Mondays are a bad thing. Watching Garfield. And
Yeah, that's right.
Oh, that's
it's
true.
propaganda.
They poisoned us against Monday.
Mondays and mornings.
Very
Little Garfield.
Very mean.
Yeah.
Because Mondays can be the start of things and exciting and new, and you can get shit done on a Monday that you can't get done on a Friday because people are lazy by Friday. And also, mornings are the best time to be awake, which is why we go live at 6 a.m.
Yeah.
I'm trying to retrofit my terrible decision to wake up so early 10 years ago.
I must say, though, after a week of running around and a lot of driving,
Yes.
on Sunday, yesterday, I found myself, I was one of those old people, you know, the ones that drive slowly on a Sunday.
Oh, nice.
Did you go for a little Sunday afternoon
Yes.
rendezvous?
Look, no, I wasn't
to the
keeping anyone
bowling
up.
club?
There was no one behind me, but I just realized it was so nice to drive slowly, to get out of your car slowly.
Oh, whoa. No. You've taken it too far now.
Just to walk around slowly.
There's no cops on the road because it's not that season, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, the cops are, well, I mean, you say that, but I've seen a lot of them around. In fact,
It's mainly Friday nights.
did I mention the other day that, I think I did, I spoke about how polite this policeman was the other day. He pulled me over and said, hello, sir. We just need to see your license and check your license disc. And it's all over in like 2 minutes, but polite, efficient, professional. There was no fucking around. The guy didn't try to solicit a bribe. There's none of the usual, hey, I'm so hungry. Why you never give me?
Yeah.
All right. And none of that stuff happened. It was like just great. I drove away from, am I even in, pinching myself, going, am I even in South Africa? Where am I? This is unbelievable.
Yeah, see, it all depends on the cop you get. That's
but this just proves the point, right? There are good ones.
There are good ones.
Very good. All right. So wait, Leigh-Ann, are you getting another AI leg?
Yes, I
So
must.
nice.
I do need to.
Well, because you were meant to go in for your other AI leg.
Yes. And then I got a job.
Yes.
You kind of don't want to take off 3 weeks.
No, because you'll be sitting, because you'll be sitting at an angle the whole time as well.
No, you don't. But you can't drive to get there or wash
But you
your
had the one
hair.
hip done. You didn't realize it. You were definitely you were leaning to the one side the
No,
whole time,
I
like
am
the
now.
Tower of Pisa.
I am now.
You were?
My left leg is longer than my right.
Really?
Yeah.
Stand up for me.
Oh, I'll show you.
Is that
you
why
can
you
see
like
it.
driving? Because you're stable?
You can see it best when I stand on one leg and then on the other. It looks like I'm wearing a high heel on one foot.
Really?
Yeah.
God, how fantastic. This is so exciting. All right, there she is. There's the
Okay.
great Leigh-Ann Mol. Can't really see much.
Okay,
Just
this
the
is-
tits, really.
This is standing on my fixed leg.
Okay,
I've lifted my bad leg.
right. Oh my God.
Oh, wow.
You drop like a whole inch and a
Yeah, you
half.
dropped.
That's quite something. So you could, if you wanted to enter a sports event in a slightly
Yes,
shorter category, you could do that.
I could.
That's amazing.
So yeah, it's because all
So
of
still, are
the.
you sure you want to lose that?
Do you not trip up because of that?
Yes, I do.
Oh,
I actually
I would
do.
imagine so.
Yeah.
Because especially stairs must be a
Yeah,
difficult
even-
thing.
Like if there's a hump in the ground, I'm screwed. I mean, I might as well just lie down. Stairs I'm prepared for. You can see them coming. But if there's a slight, If there's a mouse
Oh,
under the
wow.
carpet, I'm fucked.
So do you not want to go buy those shoes that have like a platform on the one side?
Well, I did that because I thought when I first realized, I thought I was on my way to my check-in appointment, and I had to wear one platform shoe and one flat shoe. And I walked and I marched in there, and I was ready to tell him he's made a mistake. And then he said to me, "No, Leigh-Ann, you've got no cartilage left on your other. I mean, not cartilage, but
Stand on
bone
one
left
leg.
on your other, hip thing."
So did he make you shorter on that side or taller?
He brought me back to where I'm supposed to be.
So which side is short? Your natural side is shorter.
No, my natural side is the tall one.
So then he made you shorter.
Yes.
There's only those options.
Both were down because both.
He hasn't touched the one side, and that side is either up or down.
Okay, look at the female.
When they were up, they're up. And when they were down, they were down. And when they're only halfway up, they were neither up nor down. No, the Grand Old Duke of York, he had 10,000 men. He marched them up to the top of the hill,
and he marched them down again. Hey.
Don't you know this?
Oh, no, I do.
Okay,
I just
Any
didn't know.
child who has not heard nursery rhymes had a bad childhood, and the parents should be flogged in the
No,
street.
it's the opposite. It's the other way around.
What do you
These
mean?
nursery rhymes are terrible.
No, they taught
Yeah,
you
but- yeah,
important things.
Yeah, you have to know them. That's kind of rattled them off.
Half, at least, maybe even 3/4 of my general knowledge comes from nursery rhymes as a child.
So look, these are my femurs, and at the top are the balls of the femurs, right?
It's getting very personal. All right.
Okay. So because of the osteonecrosis, these two have like rotted at the top.
Oh my.
So they shrank down,
Oh.
but the one had shrunk a little bit more. So I got shorter.
I didn't want an
Now he's
anatomy
put
lesson.
it back where it was supposed to be. And now this one needs to be back where it's supposed to
Okay, so your natural side that hasn't been operated on yet
It's
is
short.
shorter.
be. Yes.
So you're going to be a bit taller then. You've been shrinking.
I've been
slowly over
shrinking
time.
slowly.
But you're going back to your true nature now.
I'm
You're gonna be back on- you're gonna be
flourishing.
back on that horse.
Legs wide apart.
The old Leigh-Ann is on her way back. She's trotting back into town.
2.0 downloading.
That's right.
So which pedal do you struggle for? The clutch or
Yeah, what do you do when you drive? You
No,
have to,
man.
You have to stretch. Oh, shit, I can't reach the accelerator.
shorter the one?
Which one did you have done? Your left or your right?
Left.
Oh, so you're fine on the clutch. It's just on the brake. You sometimes have to.
It's not that bad. It's just
I'd
that
like to go faster, but I can't.
I have to scoot my chair forward every time I change gears.
Like a dog that's got an itchy ass with worms.
And he can't reach.
Scooch forward. I had an interesting weekend. I was at the Met in Cape Town.
Oh, yes.
Yes. What an interesting thing. So first of all, I haven't been anything like that for 12, maybe 15 years. Okay.
Yeah.
So there's a huge amount of time that's elapsed.
Mm.
Huge amount. All those horses have died and new ones have come. So there's not one horse that will recognize me.
Well, there were people that have died as well.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes. Like,
Wow.
like the
Yes.
people, the people who used to write in the Sunday Times and take the photos. It was a big deal in those days, right?
Mm.
And it was it was one of those events that if you were an inverted commas celebrity, because I've always thought it's silly that because there's no South African celebrities, right? But we were like the first influencers.
Yeah.
In
I
that.
know. I was just thinking because I didn't see like now with you guys being there. Now you guys like kind of owned it more than normally you just rock
No,
up.
shut up,
being
Brian. The
there.
influencers are talking.
The OGs.
I mean, I saw Leigh-Ann Mol
no.
there.
No,
I saw.
so you're right. So we did a photograph because Alan Ford invited all of us on behalf of his cousin who owns this World Sports Betting. It's like they were everywhere. They were branded, the whole place full. I walked into the bathroom at the airport in Joburg on the way back, and they had branding all over. Spent a lot of money on some advertising there. Good for them. Anyway, we all stood for a photograph. There was Leanne Manis, who does the morning show on SABC.
Mhm.
There was the Espresso people.
Mm.
There was Vanessa Carrera and Zoraida Jardine. And who else did I see there? That Devi
yeah.
from
Oh, yeah.
Devi
Hot Lunch.
Thankery Governor, who's just the best. I just
I
love her
love
so
her.
much. She's so much fun. And she's got such a great sense of humor. People see her on TV and they're terrified of her in real life. Like she walks, you see some people like they try to melt into the walls because they're terrified like Devi's going to point at them and go, "What have you been doing, you crook?" She's fantastic. Who else was with it? Bongani Bingwa was with us. Trying to think. Loyiso Bala.
Oh, yeah.
So these are like these are celebrities from that time, including me, I suppose, when there weren't like influencers on Instagram.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So
No, you had to be on either radio or TV or a singer.
yeah,
You
so
couldn't just
had
be
to-
like
you had
doing
to-
makeup
You had to be,
tutorials.
you had to be really good at something and have grown your audience organically. You
Yeah.
couldn't have just gone on the internet, gone viral, and suddenly been a thing.
Mhm.
You had to make a slow, steady progress with your career. Now, I'm not comparing them. I'm not saying the one is good and the
No,
other
it's
one's
just that
bad.
things have changed.
Right, exactly. So I mean, you could be the world's greatest makeup tutorial person on Instagram, and good for you.
Mm.
I'm certainly not going to argue that that doesn't have more or less influence. It may have a whole lot. Anyway, it was fun to kind of see some of these people again after a gap of more than a decade, right?
Mm.
And to be at these events and people are dressing up and everything else. And I got into a conversation with somebody who was there. I said, do you think it was just, it felt like a cooler thing back in the 2000s because we were 20 something and it was like we were at this big event and it was glamorous and we were flown in and put up in these fancy hotels. And do you think it was just because we were in our 20s and so
Why did it
impressed by
feel
this
a
stuff?
bit less
Or-
impressive?
Well, no, I mean, I'm probably, everybody admitted they're a bit jaded.
Mm-hmm.
Like they've been to 4 or 5 of these, maybe more, maybe 10 of them. And I mean, there were people having the time of their lives there. And in fact, I had a lot of fun, which you'd never have expected, right?
And you were not drinking either.
No, not a drop.
You and Alan.
It was fantastic. So I think it's like a different, you just, as you get into a different stage of your life, you just take a different view of these things. It's not that it's less or more glamorous or they've changed it. There's a few things that have become a bit
things-
different and
Yeah.
sponsorships change but the racing stays the same. And, it's the way that you kind
Perceive
of,
things.
yeah.
So, I mean, I can't remember where I saw it. It was a guy talking about the fact that he was sitting in a park somewhere and this little toddler walked up to a rock that was sticking out of the ground, quite a big boulder. And he watched this little boy who was fascinated by this rock and who went around the back and he brought a plank and he pretended that there was a door and he was just fascinated by this rock.
Yeah.
And what's going to happen the next time he sees a rock a few years later? He's not going to, you just start losing the surprise factor.
Yeah. I mean, it's the same as I saw Gord was posting all these super cute animals over the weekend, like a red panda and a little pika, which I don't know if you've ever seen a pika. These are the cutest little things ever. I thought, this is so great. But it reminds me of someone who said to me once, when you see something for the first time, you'll never have that experience again. And I think that's true even for human interactions. Like the first time you meet someone, if it's someone you've always wanted to meet, is the most exciting. And if you see them a second or a third time, it becomes a little bit like, okay.
Unless you start to fall in love. When that
Yeah,
happens, that's
yeah,
a
that's
completely different experience. And I suppose the way your love for a child as a mother or a father would grow.
Sure. Right. I mean, I've only ever got bored when I've met someone once.
Well, I mean,
So I'm speaking
No one
purely.
gets more interesting.
Anyway. All right. How was your weekend? What did you get up to? Apart from driving like Miss Daisy on Sunday.
Yeah. Oh, that was nice. I binge watched Griselda with Sofia Vergara.
I thought of you because I saw the poster on a billboard on the way into work this morning. And I remember the only thing I know about Griselda is the Griselda Zelda who used to do the news for us sometimes.
Yeah, this is Griselda. Based on
So
Griselda
Sofia
Blanco.
Vergara.
She doesn't age.
Well, in this
she
they've made her a
does.
bit
Oh,
ugly.
really?
Yeah. They've actually got like a nose prosthetic. But if
Oh,
you
wow.
look at the real Griselda.
Sorry, there's some insect.
There's a while.
Just like
Oh.
took a slow Sunday drive past us. It was like the slowest
I
insect
saw
ever.
it like a lazy mosquito or something.
No, it's not even a mosquito. It's way too big.
Oh,
It just went right past us. Like Like one of those aircraft from World War One. What a Sopwith camel. A Sopwith camel. That's what they called them. All right. So anyway, Griselda.
Griselda Blanco, the actual one, she wasn't that beautiful at all, and her mugshot from a few years ago was absolutely terrible. But they tried to make her more ugly, but it's quite difficult because she's so beautiful.
She's gorgeous.
Yeah.
Oh.
So she had this kind of nose prosthetic,
If you give someone
and they made her older.
if you give someone a witch nose, it instantly makes them uglier, right?
Well, she's got quite a cute butt. I had to think about it and look back. She's got quite a cute little nose.
Yeah.
And this was quite a long, hanging nose. So, yeah. But there was a man in it that had even a bigger nose, and he was known as Bird for that reason.
Jesus, that's ugly. Bro, just
Yeah.
Yeah,
And I mean,
up.
that's still
Need to
too
see
pretty
that.
for what for what Griselda looked like.
I
I don't know if you can see that, but it looks like she looks like what's the Caitlyn? She's like Caitlyn Jenner.
Looks like a Nanny McPhee type thing that they did.
But she's still hot in the thing. I mean, you can't take away
No, of
Sofia
course.
Vergara's hot.
No, she's fantastic looking.
But yeah, what a woman. So it's fiction and it's based on fact, right?
What is it? She a murderer?
Well, she was the cocaine godmother
A murderess.
from
A
Colombia,
murderess.
and she ran Miami. She basically was the person who
A gangsteress.
influenced. Yeah, she influenced the Miami economy.
Am I the only person who still uses old terms like murderess and gangsteress?
Yes, you are.
Wait, so that actually existed? I thought
What-
you made that up.
No,
would a pilot-
murderess is a female murderer.
What would a pilot be?
Pilotess.
Pilotess. Her name's Tess.
Pilot's a pilot.
But yeah, so she was heavily involved. She ran all of the Colombian drug stuff that was going on.
That's such a good business, huh?
Well,
I feel like such an idiot. So I was in Cape Town for this thing, and then on Saturday night we all went out to there's some party at one of these places, and we this table and
Was it
people
like
all
a club?
around.
Was it like a beach club?
Yeah,
What was it?
yeah. It was the Grand Beach Club, which is a staple in Cape Town, and there were loads and loads of people. It was just unbelievable. This is a Saturday night, so clearly it's a party night. But I get the feeling when you go out in Joburg lately, there's not a lot happening, but
Mhm.
fucking opposite in Cape Town. And I looked around, I saw so many people who were so high, and I thought, I wish I were the dealer for all these people. I'd be so rich.
she tapped into a brand new market. I haven't read up on the real person, and a lot of the stuff is fiction. So people are going to come with it doesn't match the story and the facts were wrong.
Yeah.
They admit that this is
It's been
fictionalized.
fictionalized, yeah.
But she was responsible, at least in the film, for tapping into a brand new market. And it wasn't just the Latinas and the people from South America who are now living in Miami. She tapped into the white, rich,
That's what I'm talking
old
about.
Yeah.
market.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you see her and her prostitute friends turning these parties around
Well, with
at
prostitute
tennis
friends.
clubs and
Listen, let me tell you,
bowling clubs.
with prostitute friends, anything is possible. See, again, I looked around. I was like, if only I were in drugs and prostitution, the world would be my oyster. Instead, what did I do? I mean, I'm an idiot.
You
to
made
a
an
start.
honest living.
It's
is what you
ridiculous.
did.
What a stupid
What
thing
a
to.
stupid idea.
What a dumb thing to to put into play. I mean, honestly.
Yeah, because all these guys who are doing it get like documentaries and all
Hey.
that kind of stuff for them.
Listen, Marco, who listens to us,
Yeah.
who is a former fitness athlete and through a terrible accident. Remember, we spoke to Marco. He ended up, he's gone through so much rehab that he's just a machine now. But he had a terrible time for a couple of years. Says, I got some good news. I'm officially a Wings for Life World Run by Red Bull ambassador. That sounds bloody fantastic. Well done.
Lovely.
Even the chairman of the comments section, Rebellious Ruth, congratulating Marco there, which is now it's a big deal.
Wait,
with-
can he drop off some Red Bull, or is he just does he just like?
Ryan,
I'm just asking.
you mustn't immediately see what you can get out of it.
No, it's not what I can get.
Yes, no,
does
you-
he go give out
instead
Red
of-
Bull, or is he just
Instead of congratulating him,
it's like brought to you by?
I don't know what it means to be an ambassador for them. It doesn't necessarily
That's
mean you
really
have anything
cool.
to do with the product. Maybe you just influence and advertise and have things to do online.
So cool.
but you immediately want like him to come and drop Red Bull.
No, I'm asking.
Me, Ryan. It's unbelievable. This generation, Leigh-Ann, they're a disgrace.
No,
Oh.
honestly.
All right. Well,
But anyway,
we got a couple of other things to get to this morning. I think I might watch this Griselda on your recommendation.
Look, I wouldn't say it's a fantastically put together, it's not like right at the top of things, but I watched it for her performance really, because she admits she's never done anything besides Modern Family. And I saw an interview with her before watching it, and how she had to learn how to smoke. She had to learn how to snort lines. She had to learn.
Did she really?
People learn that in Joburg like this. So I don't know what you could have picked anyone off.
She had to learn how to smoke a crack pipe.
Really?
And to really
that must be a bit of a challenge.
Like get into her deepest self to become this character. So I watched it for that.
I wonder who taught her. Was it the producers?
Oh,
yeah,
in Hollywood, you don't need a coach to teach you how to do cocaine and smoke a crack pipe. In Hollywood, there's 1,000 people on the street you could find to do that for you. Please.
Yeah.
All right. Isn't that the same as the Queen of the South? Says Steve.
I haven't seen that, but I know what you're talking about.
Okay.
I don't know if it's the same.
Wait, is it a series or is it a movie?
Series.
Okay.
I think there were only 6 episodes.
Well, Ed Makes Crazy Stuff is joining us for the first time live this morning. Says,
Very
I managed to catch a Gareth Cliff show live. And finally, by the way, the show is finally streaming live in Saudi Arabia. Good.
Oh, wow.
Good. This is a sign of really, really important things happening in Saudi Arabia. When people talk about how that country is improving, I say yes, because our show is streaming there. Although there are a lot of people who've been listening to us in Saudi for a long time. So, hi. Hello there. Hi, everybody. Okay, so let's talk about this thing. While we're on these murderesses and gangsteresses, there's a picture of a woman who's a prisoner. She's a murderess.
Yes.
And
I don't know what she did. She kind of just she just got a mugshot, which is going viral on Twitter.
So is this because she's ugly or because she's hot?
Hot.
Oh.
I think there's a picture up there.
I've got a picture. Yeah, so this is a mugshot of this prisoner. She could be a murderess. Okay.
Never know.
There we go.
Sweet Jesus. Aggravated assault and disorderly conduct. That's what she was arrested for. I think I could handle both of those.
That's what I'm saying. You know what I mean?
Little strumpets.
What did she really do?
Wow. Even if she's seriously crazy and like very aggressive.
Yeah, I wouldn't want to get on the wrong side of her.
She's very attractive.
Very.
Yeah, she's very pretty.
She's too pretty to be a prisoner.
This is kind of like, remember when Trump used his mugshot to go viral kind of thing? She's like going to walk out of that
was Trump's one?
Sponsorships.
Yeah, he looked like a duck. Remember, he had that like duck thing.
Oh, he's such a horrible specimen.
Oh, so I saw the funniest Trump impersonation of the week. So many people can do it now that it's not really... I guess not the greatest one to do because so many people do it. And he's in a speed dating thing. And the guy who's pretending to be Trump has got like his mannerisms down. So he goes, oh my God, I knew when you came in that you were going to come and sit here. You're a pig. I can't look at you. You're a pig. I thought, oh my God, what is this, a pig?
Imagine going on a speed dating thing and you sit opposite him.
Well, this one woman is like, I hate you and F you and go away and die. And
I got millions and millions and millions and millions.
If I wanted a date, I would get a date. I came here for the fun. I don't need you. Go away. Leave me alone. He was apparently that case in New York that E. Jean Carroll woman brought against him. He has to pay her, according to the judges, and he's going to appeal it, obviously. So this is not the final decision. But according to those judges and the jury, he has to pay this E. Jean Carroll woman $83 million. She said he assaulted her in a change room in a department store. Now, I see Donald Trump doing a lot of terrible things. And by that, I mean rude and inappropriate things. I don't see him like trying to rape a woman in a change room in a department store.
I wouldn't put anything past him.
You really think he's that awful?
Yes.
I mean, because he's been demonized left, right, and center.
So when last did he go to a department store?
He would go to departments. I need to buy her a perfume.
How far back are we talking?
I don't know, somewhere in the 80s and 90s or something. But this woman, this E. Jean Carroll, was part of a group of people who changed the law so that victims of assault can wind the clock back way beyond the statutory limit. And now she's making some money out of this. Look, again, I don't know. But it's just hearsay evidence. It's like that Kavanaugh situation. You remember when they were trying to appoint Judge Kavanaugh to the Supreme Court, and that woman, that crazy woman, came out from like when he was at college and said she was taken advantage of when she was drunk by him, and it turned out to be just complete nonsense. But I think there's got to be, you know what's going to happen here in order to make it fair, because I'm not one of those believable victims people, because I think a lot of victims are just bullshit liars. But I think there needs to be a punishment for actual sex offenders, which is horrible. Years in prison, massive fines, and years in prison, whatever. Make it a combo of those two. But there also needs to be an equal punishment for people who make false allegations.
Yeah.
So in other words, if you are a victim, in inverted commas, but nothing really happened and you're just trying to extort money from a guy.
For sure, because it's defamatory.
Right. Then whatever you were trying to get out of him should happen to you. So you'll go to prison and pay a fine for faking it. That'll level the playing fields again, and we can start from scratch. But I don't know about this woman. I mean, he's going to appeal it, obviously. He says, she's a pig. I would never have done this to her. But I don't know if it's true. And looking at her, I don't know that anyone has ever assaulted her, but that's just me.
This is decades later.
Yeah.
He's a crook, Gareth. You cannot see it. I can see that Trump is a rent landlord in New York who he's the kind of guy who'd knock on the door of an apartment where there's a single mom and 3 kids and she's struggling to keep it together and go, you've got to get out. You haven't paid your rent. Get out. I can see that about him. He's not, I would not like to be his employee, his relative,
film crew.
I wouldn't like to be anything close to the guy. All right. But sometimes, I mean, you could say that about Napoleon and Julius Caesar and Genghis Khan. You wouldn't have liked to have been around them, but my God, sometimes they make the most effective leaders. You don't have to like everybody. You don't have to be friends with everybody. I don't care if the guy who makes my cell phones, or the child in this case, who makes my cell phones, is a very nice person. It doesn't bother me. As long as my phone is made properly, I'm very happy about that. They're not going to tick all your boxes. You're not looking for a new best friend or a daddy or a father figure or any of that stuff. Sometimes you just need a leader. If you'd prefer Joe Biden because he's an ineffective, senile old man, you go for it. But I think, David John, what you have to realize is that you are going to get very upset again in November if you don't like Trump, because it's going to happen again.
Yeah.
He grabbed her by the pussy, says joking atheist. I would believe him.
Funny.
G, what have you been experimenting with in your lab, says Snipes. How so?
Has your lab been active lately? Have you been doing anything?
I haven't. I feel
like you've been so busy. You've been in
so
Cape Town for like the last 6 weeks.
No, it's been ridiculous. I've been to Cape Town 5 times in 6 weeks.
Jeez.
It's enough already. And 2 of those times was for fun and games. The rest was for work.
You missed the hangover party on Friday.
Yeah, you guys went to our old premises at Telemedia. They put on a big lunch. So who behaved and who didn't?
Well, all of us didn't behave. So they do this thing where it's like a
you
Christmas
and
party.
Simpiwe and Dori and Jane and Homolemo.
Rena was also there. She was only there for the hour though.
Okay. Looks very good. There's Devesh with, are those tequilas?
Those are tequilas.
They're looking very precarious on that tray, which is being held at a very uncomfortable angle. I don't like that.
Devesh, the thing about him, right?
Yes. We like Devesh.
No, I do like Devesh. I think he's hilarious, but he's very problematic when it comes to this because he has to fast on Fridays. So he doesn't eat any of the food or drink anything, but he goes round with his tequila shots.
Getting everyone else
handing
toasted.
handing us all drinks. So I mean, there's even a video there. I don't know if you saw Double A. He was like dancing with some guys.
Listen,
there.
how many more names does Homolemo have to get? He's Homolemo, he's Aaron, he's Double A. He's got another one as well. I'm against this many names policy. Okay.
Everyone calls him something different.
I don't like all these many names. Well, you get one. I only have one name.
Yeah, I know. He's got so many. So
Well, you have a second name.
What?
But it's never used.
No, but my name is Gareth. People call me Gareth. I wouldn't respond
Call
to.
you GC,
I wouldn't be Fred.
Gaza,
But I can't say Fred.
something completely
No.
different. Alexander.
Double A, Aaron, Homolemo. It's too many.
He's Aaron. Remember from
It's too much.
He's from the skit.
He must now cut that. He's got to choose which name, and we've got to stick to one.
You know what? We need to get him on the show, and then we'll talk to him about it, because everybody calls him by something different. But he was even having a good time. If you have a look at that video there, you'll see him just like dancing around.
So what is silver porn?
Did you not know? I didn't.
Of course,
either.
I don't know what silver porn is.
I didn't either.
I imagine it's a category like you get bronze, silver, gold. So silver porn is like the bad porn. It's like they don't do good lighting.
Like second rate.
Yeah, they get like old actors that are worn out in the gold category. Is that what it is?
I was going to say, is it like the free subscription where you have to watch ads?
No,
It's
you're
not
both
the
wrong.
gold tier.
Maybe
both
it's
wrong.
old people.
Yes.
Oh, there we go.
And Japan should be the clue.
Yeah, because they've only got old people. Their civilization is dying out.
68% of the population is aged 65 and above.
68%.
I need to double check
I
that.
hope
But
that's
I remember
wrong.
it was
I hope that's wrong. Otherwise,
Wow.
80. I think there's 16% that are 18 years old.
Damn.
it's like the opposite problem that we've got on this continent.
Absolutely crazy. So I've given you a photograph of a woman on whom this Guardian article is based. Her name is Emi Toda. She
Yeah.
was in her late 50s, recently divorced.
Yeah.
Getting wages from part-time jobs at supermarkets and as an undertaker when she decided that it was a change. And she's now 65 and has appeared in dozens of adult movies catering to the silver porn market. That's a genre of films whose enduring popularity reflects Japan's status as a super aging society.
Jesus.
So, yeah, there are a lot of these women now and men who realize that there's a big market for this. And I think it's also because there's an acceptance of aging because everybody's getting older. So there's not this drive for young porn.
But don't
anymore.
old people want to watch young, hot people in the prime of their life rather than watching other old people?
Not necessarily.
Really?
And you remember too that all sorts of fetishes exist. So there are even young men who want to be with older women. MILFs, GILFs.
Yeah. You've introduced a whole new arena of really disturbing possibilities into
And
the conversation this morning.
there have even been law changes to protect people working in adult movies. So Japan has introduced a law allowing
Got to have your Zimmer frame laws. Got to have your Walker, your purple hair rinse. What else? I mean, what are these rules involve?
No, they've introduced a law allowing women who appear in adult movies to cancel their contracts within a year's work and then have all of the assets and movies and everything retracted.
Oh, right. So if you're embarrassed,
Oh.
like you go into porn and then you realize 6 months, oh, this is not for me. It's very embarrassing. I don't want my family to know. Then you can have everything deleted.
Yeah,
Well, off
exactly.
that site.
Well, yeah. I mean, like, please,
As far as you can,
Yeah.
I guess.
please.
So it's not only the women. There is a guy, Shigeo Tokuda, who his portfolio includes roles in Forbidden Elderly Care,
Oh my God. Is that that's the name of
the film.
Forbidden Elderly Care?
Yes.
Oh,
And the Manic
Disturbing.
Training of Lolitas. Anyway, he's been recognized by the Guinness World Book of World Records as the oldest porn actor. He was 83.
oh. Lucky things don't turn to dust when it starts getting a bit of friction.
Well, I mean, that's it's a bit of a misconception. And we've spoken before about the stuff that goes on in old age homes, right?
Yeah, but we don't need to film it.
And in fact, I remember telling you I bumped into someone at a party it was her 80th.
Mm.
And she works as an occupational therapist in an old age home. And she
Yeah.
said the amount of STDs and the amount of condoms that they've got to hand out all the time. So it still goes on. Still goes on.
Sure.
How disturbing. Well, people like what people like. What are you going to do? If you're an old person in Japan, maybe this is what gets you going. This
Well,
is the thing that
Job
turns you on.
opportunities, your life could start at 68.
It's so
I mean-
weird. I remember, and I'm sure I've told you the story. I went into the adult world in Durban once to buy like a gag gift for somebody.
Gag.
Yeah, literally. It was for we were on holiday. My friend and I decided for the 3 girls who were with us on holiday, we're each going to get a present.
Mm.
And so we bought these ridiculous gag gifts. And then on our way out, I said to the guy at the counter, like, what's your best-selling thing in Durban? Like, what is the Durban crowd into?
Yeah.
Because that's going to tell you a lot more than market research.
Yes.
You could go online and you could have people fill in a questionnaire, but this is where people are putting their money. This is in the days when you bought actual DVDs and shit, right?
And you had to go into a shop.
Yeah, so you had to be, and then you had to ask for the one you wanted.
Oh.
Right. So these people are not ashamed. So I said to him, well, what's the best-selling one? And he showed me, I cannot remember the name of it, but the star of this porno was an enormous woman. Enormous, morbidly obese, called Earthquake. Look her up. I'm
That's
not making this up.
The BBW category, which big beautiful
Do
women.
you really want to look this up?
You can.
No.
Earthquake,
It's
okay?
okay.
And her movies, and he said to me that this woman she's the star. I thought, wow, I must be very boring or predictable
Vanilla.
or vanilla. I've never thought, and I wouldn't want to watch Earthquake. I can guarantee you that's not on my agenda. I mean, I can barely stand next to fat people in a queue. But hey, in Durban, you guys have got a lot to answer for. This is your
But
thing.
maybe those were also being bought as gag gifts.
Yeah.
Who knows?
Very embarrassing.
When I studied in
Earthquake.
Melville, there was there's this little center where they had a stairs, and so we'd go to the stairs every 1 or 2 Wednesdays. And if you looked from the stairs, you could see where Roxy's was. I don't know if you guys have been to Roxy's.
Of course.
And so just further up from Roxy's, that next building up, there was an adult world there.
Yes.
But then there's a church behind it.
Yes.
And it was awesome because you'd see the priests come down, but it looked like he came out of the adult shop
Oh, wow.
instead of the church. And I was like, this only would happen in Melbourne.
I had a friend whose friend, I never met this friend, so it's a friend of a friend, who used to work at one of these stores in Randburg.
Randburg.
And they had a little curtain at the back where men would come on literally on their lunch hours, park their cars and go inside, go behind the curtain, and she would give them blowjobs. Oh.
Wow.
She would give them.
This
This is
girl
not-
who worked there. I don't know if her boss knew what was going on.
That was definitely not on the menu.
I don't think so. But there
She was
a
earning.
curtain.
She was hustling on the side.
Yeah.
Wow. What a world we live in.
Crazy.
I mean, there is just the sky is the limit if you want money.
Yeah.
Really. You just got to be prepared
Again,
to.
gangs.
Oh, you just have to be
prostitutes.
prepared to sell what people want to buy. That's all. It's that simple. And there's British grannies that take sex tours to Jamaica or West Africa. Yes, I know about them. We heard about them. Remember,
Yes.
we even they have a name for those guys.
And for those women, they do. Yeah.
Yeah, well, Ricky says, I'm sure some of those priests did come out of the adult shops.
I wouldn't
I'm
surprise
sure.
Mm.
Oldest
Sure.
porn actor is Biden, says Peter. The ball sacks are probably hanging around like wind chimes in that
Good for
Japanese,
teabagging.
silver Japanese porn. Well, you know what? It doesn't involve me. It doesn't affect me. You go ahead. Japan, I can't say good for you, but you do you, boo. That's all I'm going to say.
Yeah.
Dr. Hanan is back today. We're going to chat to him in a little bit. Very exciting. And later on, we will be joined by Catherine van Wyngard. Now, I met Catherine years ago. She's been in the police for some time. She just recently retired from the police, and she's got some stories to tell us. She's a Lieutenant-Colonel in the police, and she's just retired. She grew up in Uppington, and being a woman in the police is a whole different kettle of fish.
Yeah. Especially during that time.
Well,
I mean,
yeah.
she's seen it all. So I'm really excited to talk to her.
But also, I mean, if she's retired, I'm presuming she was in the police for a long time. And one of the themes that came out of this Griselda series is how women weren't taken seriously in the police, in the
100%.
in the crime fighting world. And the police officer in this case said, "I'm telling you, this is a female drug dealer," and they all poo-pooed her for 3 years.
Yeah.
And said, "There's no ways.
Women can't do these things."
Well, she was actually fired. She was put behind a desk.
There we go. That happens. You women speak out of
turn. Know your limits.
Those are the good old days.
Women.
No one took you seriously. Right. I heard from a woman that, don't worry about that. All right, let's check out some sports results with Beyond the Scoreboard and the sports recap with Super Bets. What you got for us, Ryan?
All right, so we're going to kick off with cricket with the SA20. The Durban Super Giants crushed the Paarl Royals by 125 runs for the big win of the weekend. They are now 6 points clear on top of the log, and so we have second, Paarl Royal on 22 points, and third is the Sunriser Eastern Cape with 19 points.
All right.
Test matches: England beat India, West Indies beat Australia in Australia for one of the biggest upsets in modern era.
Okay.
Getting into some rugby, the URC, the Bulls beat the Lions 30-28, and in Perth Sevens, Argentina win again, beating Australia in the final. Getting into your football news, so Premier League is back on Tuesday the 30th, but we had the FA Cup. This is the 4th round selection. So Chelsea drew with Aston Villa. Man City beat Spurs 1-0. Maidstone United beat Ipswich Town 2-1. Luton Town beat Everton 2-1. Fulham lost to Newcastle 2-0. Liverpool beat Norwich 5-2. And Newport County lost to Man United 4-2.
Okay.
Getting into your AFCON. What is it? Namibia
well, it's a sport. It's a soccer tournament.
Yeah. Well,
that's what it is.
Yes, it's the African Cup of Nations.
Yes.
Namibia lost to Angola 3-0, and Nigeria beat Cameroon 2-0.
Okay.
Equatorial Guinea lost to Guinea 1-0, and Egypt and the DR Congo.
Ricky says, for goodness sake, Ryan, West Indies beat Australia in Australia. First time in 26 years. This is a big deal.
That's what I said.
Don't sound so bored with it, says Ricky.
Yeah, but Ben even said that. I don't watch cricket much, but anyway.
Well, clearly.
So like I said, Egypt and the DR Congo drew 1-1, but in penalties, DR Congo came out 8-7. So that's good there. And then obviously we had the tennis, the Aussie Open. Ben joked about the skinny Italian guy.
He did very well.
He did very well.
Yeah.
Yannick Sinner won the men's title, the first guy in the last 19 years other than Nadal.
He looks emaciated. The guy, he's got...
I have a picture up on there of him.
It's very, very unfortunate. Unfortunate looking dude. Let me just show this guy quickly. Very, very thin.
Oh, there he is.
Weedy looking. He looks like a cartoon character.
I mean, tennis players generally don't have enormous muscly physiques.
No, but come on.
But this guy is quite, very ethereal, really. Kind of like my legs.
First guy in the last 19 years, other than Nadal,
Federer, barely hold that trophy up. I think after that he was exhausted.
Oh well, I mean, he had everyone on the ropes.
All right, Ryan.
And
anything else?
Arina Sabalenka won the women's title for the Aussie Open.
You don't know. Do you know who she is?
No.
I haven't been following the tennis, no.
Okay, so this is the most stupid place to come for sport, but in case you came, there it is. All right. That's what we need to give you. Thank you, Ryan. Beyond the Scoreboard.
Thank you.
Our little weekend sports recap with Super Bets. You could join us for more sport on Friday with Ben. Super Bets supports responsible, Leigh-Ann.
Yeah.
Responsible
Keep
gambling.
it responsible.
Strictly now under 18s. Winners know when to stop. The South African Responsible Gambling Foundation's toll-free counseling hotline is 0800 006 008. All right, where's our Dr. Hanan? We need to get some.
Let me go find him.
You go find him.
I'll go find him.
Yeah, there we go. You've done your bit with the sport. You're relieved of your responsibilities. Yeah, there There we go. There's Ryan. Going to mill about with his arms at tit height.
Like a Tyrannosaurus Rex.
Exactly. That's a good look for him. Ryan, you sound like this is a chore. Perk up, bitch, says Carl Santos. Oh, there's some comments here. It's great. People just love the sport. Hey, what's up?
Hey guys, how you doing?
You know, it always sounds on your side, the sound through whatever we're using with you here this morning. It always sounds like we're back on AM radio when Dr. Hanan joined. Hi, Dr. Hanan, how are you?
That's funny. I need to invest in a proper microphone. I have to. A New Year resolution.
It's not really an investment. That you can buy them on Take-A-Lot. They're not even expensive.
I bought one, but for some reason it also sounds like an AM radio. I need to get a proper one.
I'll help you. We'll help you choose the right one. No response. You see, this is why I don't go to him for counseling. He just stares at me. He just looks at me with a mouthful of teeth and he's like, yeah, what do you want? What's wrong with you? So Dr. Hanan, someone said to me this weekend, and I for a moment there, I thought that was really nice of them. Someone I've known for a while, and she said everyone would pay a lot of money to have therapy from me because I'd very much be practical and pragmatic and to the point. The sessions would last 5.5, 6 minutes max. Some of them would leave crying, but she said there's a market. There's a gap in the market for someone like me to do this. Of course, she must be completely insane, right?
So I've said this to you before. I think there is you've got this hidden talent, this thing that you wanted to come out. This is kind of a fantasy of yours, and we should actually sit you here for one day and film you doing therapy with people. And actually, on a serious note, people like the pragmatic approach. They want to come in, say what they need, have the problem resolved, and leave. So there is a market for it for sure.
Oh, I don't know. Maybe one day when the world is burning, then they'll call on me. This will be my superpower. I can finally go, it's my time to shine, and fly into the room and give people advice. All right, so let's talk about some things here because, as you know, if you've been sleeping in a cave for the last 10 years, the Dr. Hanan has been around to help us through Mondays, which for some people are tough, and through the trials and tribulations of life. And if you've got a problem that you want solved, you can get in touch with us. contact@cliffcentral.com and we will put you on with Dr. Hanan. But this morning, I want to talk about something that I noticed this a lot, this schadenfreude that's going on in society, right? Why people tend naturally towards schadenfreude, how they can stop doing it. Even a lot of our TV shows are based around this principle because people may be having a horrible time, but as long as someone else is having an even worse time, they can turn that into entertainment. It's weird, like relationships, their health, financial woes.
So what is it again?
So
it's taking pleasure from...
Schadenfreude is this German word that describes that feeling you get when you see someone else suffering and you think, oh, at least that isn't me. It's even subconscious. You don't even necessarily... Am I right, Doc? Is that a reasonable definition?
That is a reasonable definition. So it's a feeling of joy, excitement. I'm better off because in comparison to someone else, I'm ahead of the game. So I'm healthier, I'm faster, I'm wealthier, I'm prettier, I'm more resourceful than someone else, and therefore I feel really good about myself.
I mean, it literally, the literal translation is guilty joy, guilty pleasure.
Right. So it's important for people to know actually a couple of things that I think might be useful to you this morning. First of all, we all, and this is from the beginning of our time, we all have a need to elevate our status in society. We want to be on a hierarchy on a much higher level because that's when we have access to resources, to more space, to better mates. And ultimately, we are more likely to survive when we are on a higher level in a social hierarchy. And there are a couple of ways for me to do that. One is kind of the more palatable way is the peacocking method, which is let me show you value by showing you what I can do and what I have. We call it peacocking because like a peacock spreading its tail and showing off. But the thing about peacocking is that if it doesn't come across as natural and organic, you actually devalue yourself. Society then sees you as a show off. So if, for example, I'm speaking to you and I go, oh, 1 second, just Beyonce is on the line, 1 second. That comes off as very fake, and therefore society just demotes me. But if you suddenly see Beyonce come around me and gives me a hug, now suddenly, Hanan has just gone up 3 notches. So peacocking is a very dangerous thing to do and to show off or to express if it's done in an inorganic and a fake way. But that's one way. And we find a lot of leaders, and we want to follow people who actually show this kind of value because we want to attach ourselves to people of higher value so our social hierarchy can go up. So that's number one. The second way in which we elevate our status is by showing off against someone else. So I'm not just valued because I'm valued because I'm better than you. So this is called more of a dominance type of showing off. So I'm not good because I'm good. I'm good because I'm better than you. So it's like, well, I'm a doctor. And sorry, who are you? I'm a lot smarter than you. I'm a lot more resourceful than you. I drive a faster car than you. And naturally, we naturally follow leaders that peacock more than leaders that show dominance. But in terms of conflict, we naturally choose leaders that show dominance over peacocking because we want the strong leader that has power and leverage over someone else. And the third way in which we show social leverage or increase our social hierarchy is by humiliating someone else. And that's literally just rejecting somebody from the social group. And that is very devastating for someone. Imagine, and we've all been humiliated, whether it's in class at school or on the sport field or in an argument in front of other people. It's actually quite devastating for the ego. But the point is that we naturally show our hierarchy against someone else. And that's why we feel good in this game called a social game when we're above someone else. But having said that, and this is quite important, everybody on planet Earth has to compare themselves to someone else in order to understand their standings. So I know I'm good at maths because I compare myself to the average. I know I'm a terrible dancer because I compare myself to the average. So there's always a sense of comparison. So it's not a question of whether you compare or not. The question that you should be asking yourself, who do you compare yourself to? So if I fight this fight or race this race against someone else, well, that is just a terrible race. But if I fight this fight or race this race against the better version of me that could be represented by someone else, then that's a good fight to have. So don't compare yourself to someone else that's not even in your lane. So if I compare myself to Elon Musk or Usain Bolt, or somebody that has attributes and characteristics and talents that I will never have, well, then I will never feel good enough. So it's like the saying, if you judge a fish's ability, but its ability to climb a tree, to always feel stupid. So don't compare yourself to someone that has something that you never want to have or could never have, but rather compare yourself to the better version of yourself.
Yeah, I think that's such a big deal because people, you opt into a system then where you're going to just feel worse and worse and worse about things.
Absolutely.
There are people who just opt out completely from social hierarchies and social judgments, but that's a difficult thing to do because we base so much of our value on where we fit into society, right?
Yeah. So as much as people think that they can remove themselves from the social game, I haven't seen that. Even a monk can virtual signal and has more power maybe even than a banker, because even though he's not competing against somebody perhaps in another world, but he is competing against somebody in his own world. So nobody on planet Earth likes to be rejected because we all want to feel accepted and part of a social group. And again, that's done for survival reasons. So when I have somebody saying to me, oh, Hannah, I know somebody that has no fear of rejection. And my answer is, yeah, they might not have a fear of rejection from you or from your group, but they certainly have fear of rejection from their group, and the groups that they value. So to remove yourself completely from the social game is very difficult.
The short answer to that is they're not scared of being rejected by you because you mean nothing to them.
For sure.
Yeah.
Absolutely, because they just don't value you enough, because they realize that if you reject them, it doesn't change their standings. But if somebody that has more resource, more power, then it does.
So I have quite a thick skin, and I think about when people criticize me or whatever, and it happens. I sometimes walk past people and someone will mutter like "puss" under their breath or something. I'll be like,
really?
Yeah, well, once or twice in a month or a year. But I'll just carry on walking, because I mean, you don't stop when the homeless person is wailing at you from the side of the street while they're tapping on an empty cup. You don't need to pay attention to everybody. And most people's opinion shouldn't matter to you. You should only have a small group of people whose opinion you value and whose society you want to be a part of, right? Otherwise, you're going to be derailed by everybody who doesn't like you. And I see this on social media. I see people who go, oh, but there was so much criticism of something you said on Twitter. And I'm like, who gives a damn about these nobodies? You don't even know their names on Twitter. So half of them don't even put their names on there.
100%. That's very powerful, because what we're saying is that you are going to care about what people think, and that you have no control over. But what you do have control over, whose opinion you actually take seriously. So you want to be direct with the people, and you want to get feedback and be calibrated through the people that actually matter. So I want to be calibrated and care about what my wife thinks, and what my children think, and what my mom thinks. But I don't want to care about what somebody that really has no bearing on my race, on my life, on my journey, because then I'm exerting coins and effort and energy into someone that actually has no bearing on my race or my life or my journey.
Yeah, but there's this. Right. This isn't really Schadenfreude, but I call it the nice person fallacy, and there's this bizarre idea that you should have other people think you're a nice person to feel good about yourself. It's a huge delusion. It's this idea that people who you don't know, who you've never met, will walk away from you and go, she is such a nice person, and that somehow will add some powder to your arsenal. It does nothing. This does nothing for you, this nice person fallacy. People have got to get out of that. And I'm not saying you have to go around being a total and utter asshole to people. Please don't do that either, because we have to get along in society. But this nice person fallacy is a complete waste of time. And I see plenty of people pursuing it with the hope and the dream that somehow there's a payday at the end of it. It does nothing for you, right, Doc?
Well done. That's 100% right. Like, what's the currency that you can actually bank with a thumbs up on Facebook or a like on Instagram?
Nothing.
Or
Zero.
Exactly. Zero. You got to really think of the currency that is of value to you and go and chase those currencies. So is my mother telling me I'm a good son? Is that a good currency? Yes. Is a stranger telling me I'm a good person? Is that a good currency? That means nothing. So therefore, I'm not going to invest my time and energy into cultivating or being, in inverted commas, a nice guy to somebody that has no currency or no value towards me. I'm going to invest my time and energy towards the people.
What a waste of time. These people who are looking for that, looking for the approval of strangers. Ugh. Right?
Yeah. That's how social media keeps you tapped in, because they give you these thumbs up and these likes and these wonderful comments and stars, like a star chart for kids. That's what they do. And every time you log on, they give you a star chart or a star. And that's how they keep you logged in, because they make people believe that currency is valuable. But how do you pay the bills with that currency? How do you take that and improve your relationship with your kids? How does that currency add any value to your world? Zero.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, like I've said to Leigh-Ann so many times, I don't give a shit what you think.
Yeah, I heard something recently about a nursery school teacher who was saying to her students, she was teaching them the difference between when it's important to tell someone something or when it's not any of their business. And she said, if you have something to say about someone and they can't fix it within 30 seconds, then it's not worth saying. So if somebody has a piece of toilet paper stuck to the bottom of their shoe, or they have a bird poop on their back, it's okay to say, hi, sorry, you've got some toilet paper on your shoe, whatever. But if they're overweight or you don't like the way they dress, it's none of your business. If it's something that they can't fix within 30 seconds, it has absolutely nothing to do with you.
What do you say to that, Doc?
So, you know what? I'm a big fan of staying out of people's business, full stop. People have their own journey, and if you can add value to someone, I mean, I don't carry this arrogance that, or I'm the one that's going to come and make changes in your world unless you've commissioned me to. So if you ask for my opinion, I will give you my opinion. If you want my advice, I will give you my advice. If you want,
no, you actually you charge people money for that. That's what's so brilliant about what you do. Is like they actually have to pay you for that opinion.
Right. So there's an exchange for sure. There's value. The truth is, if I see somebody, a parent maybe parenting their child wrong, it grills me on the inside. But is it really my place to go in there and go, listen, you can't behave that way? When I see two couples conflicting in the wrong way, outside at Tasha's, do I go up to them? Of course, it grills me. I'm like, oh my God, if you just saw it differently, if you engage differently, the other person would hear you. But is it really my place to go in and say, did you hear what she just said? Repeat it in a way that so I kind of stay out of people's business.
Yeah, there we go. That's the important lesson from this morning. So we brought it up with Schadenfreude and we've gone all over the place, but at the end, stay out of people's business. I love it.
And don't compare yourself to someone that has no value. Compare yourself to the better version of yourself.
Yeah, a lion shouldn't concern themselves with the opinions of sheep.
Yes, exactly.
Very good. All right, Doc, thank you. We'll speak to you soon. Have a good week.
Nice to see you. See you too, Baggers.
Yes. Bye. We've got to get his microphone sorted out.
Yeah. Have to.
All right, well, there we go. Now just pay no attention to most people's opinion of you. You'll be happy. You could be deluded and happy like me. Yeah. Wake up in the morning and go, today, you don't even have to say it to yourself. I don't. Yeah, today I'm not going to give two damns about what a bunch of low rent people think of me.
Yeah, that's the way to go. The pressure that you put on yourself is too insane.
Yeah.
When you worry about what everyone thinks.
What are you going to get out of that? All right, it's 7:03. We're going to take a break. When we come back, we'll get into a whole lot more. We got Catherine from Wyngard popping in. She's just resigned from the police. Well, not resigned. She retired from the police after a distinguished career. And we're going to find out what it's like to be a woman in the police and a whole lot more. Plus, plenty of other good stuff. Leigh-Ann has a story. Just by the way, we got to talk about this too. Taylor Swift, because I know we've got a huge number of Swifties in the audience. Taylor Swift and viral deepfakes. It's a big thing. Stick around for that and more. Don't go anywhere. CliffCentral.com. Good morning, everybody.
This week on the Auto Trader podcast.
If you are seeing this for the first time, you're too late. Probably for the next couple of years, because every Toyota fan
is probably going to want. This is the one to have.
It's on the waiting list. I'm sure this, or there's the 70 series.
Yeah.
Received its first updates in how long, and it's getting that 2.8 GD6 diesel from the Hilux and Fortuner. So
the 70 series, those are the Buckies, right? Those are like the
old ones had a 4.2 non-turbo diesel, which was pop.
Yeah.
Well, this is going to be a big upgrade for guys, and I think it's going to make the car even more popular than it already is.
Catch us every Monday at 9 a.m. on YouTube and on autotrader.co.za.
I see you smile and it's lifting me high. I see the sunshine light in the sky. If you reach out and hold on tight, we'll make the fun last into the night. I don't care where you're from, you know that we're always having fun. And even if the day turns into night, I know that your smile will keep us bright. I shall know that we're always having fun. And even if the day turns into night, I know that your smile will keep us bright. I love it when you're not shy. I just love it when you smile. I love it when you're not shy. I just love it when you smile. Love it.
There it is, Leigh-Ann Mol's new single
Thank you. I've
out
been
this week. Yeah, sounds like a
working
good
hard.
pop song, and I like.
Pop's my game.
Yeah, that's your game.
Mm.
You and Taylor Swift.
That's it.
That's great, huh? All right, so we got a lot to talk about this morning, and we've got a special guest who's joined us, and we'll be introducing you to her in just a moment or two. So many exciting things to talk about. While we're on this thing of Taylor Swift, just quickly tell us the story there of the deep fakes. What's going on there, Leigh-Ann?
So X, or Twitter, has made Taylor Swift's name unsearchable
Why?
because of
How will the Swifties get up in the mornings and be able to find the stuff they need about Taylor Swift to power them through their day?
well, I don't know. The Swifties using X to find stuff out about Taylor. I'm not sure.
Using their brains, that's for sure. So they're going to be using
Oh,
something.
come on, Gareth. But yeah, apparently there were a whole lot of AI generated porn images
Oh.
of Taylor Swift.
Oh no, it was bound to happen.
And not only images, but
Feel so bad
videos
for
as
her.
well.
Feel bad for her.
Yeah.
And
So
they're fake. They're not real.
no, they're not real.
Oh,
Definitely not.
that's so unfair.
So Mashable, who we know is quite reputable,
Hmm.
was able to produce the error page for the terms Taylor Swift AI, Taylor AI,
hmm
terms Swift AI, and Taylor AI Swift.
Oh,
Those are all searchable, but you cannot search Taylor Swift. If you search Taylor Swift, it comes up as something went wrong, try reloading. I haven't tried this morning, but this was as of last
well,
night.
you know, if you don't know where the Taylor Swift porn is, then no one will.
No, yeah, I've been searching high and low.
You and a bunch of perverts living in their parents' basements all over America. Okay, let's talk to Catherine van Wyngard. I've known Catherine for a long time. She's an ex-South African Police Service Lieutenant-Colonel, and she's got a hell of a story, and it's great to have her in the studio. She came and visited us the other day in her uniform, probably for the last time here at the studio,
Mhm.
and she told us she's retiring after years in the police doing all the good things for us. I thought, you know what? We don't often get to hear the stories of a retired policeman. In this case,
also-
women in the police.
Retiring from as a police, somebody who's been in the police force, it sounds like such a big deal, and it is, because you've dedicated so much of your time and your life to that. Whereas someone just retiring from banking is like,
Yeah, please.
whatever.
Yeah, right. It doesn't follow you home.
No. But it's also like, oh, well deserved, really.
Yeah.
Take the time and enjoy it.
So it's lovely to have you here, Catherine. How are you? Let me just turn on your mic there. There we go.
Good morning. I'm
Morning.
good. I'm happy. I'm in good spirits,
Mhm.
mentally and physically.
So they didn't wear you out, the police.
I took care of myself. I don't rely on people.
You have to, right?
I have to.
Yeah.
But I'm good after a career of nearly 40 decades.
4 decades. Don't say 40, otherwise
sorry.
it would be 400
No.
years.
4 decades. I just missed the 40 years. I would have been 40 years this July.
Yes.
But due to age restrictions, I had to leave before the 40 years. And that is common course in the police.
So, yeah, there's a mandatory retirement
Yes,
age,
yes.
right?
If
So
you
it's
are
not like
60, you have to
okay.
go. But
So tell us quickly, because I mean, you grew up in Uppington, and you were the only girl. You had 4 brothers. You must have been a tough little girl already by the time that you decided to leave school and go and join the police. I mean, before then, long before then, you were already tough as nails, right? With 4 brothers.
yes, I had to toughen up with those 4 brothers. I had to be strong because they made me strong.
Sure.
Growing up in the dusty streets of Uppington, in a very poor community, but I was raised by good parents. My dad crisscrossed South Africa. He was a truck driver for, I think, 40 years.
It's a hard job too.
And my mom was a housewife, keeping the house intact while my dad was driving through South Africa Namibia.
Yeah.
But she was very strict with us. Growing up as the only girl, there was no time for me to be in the streets.
No, you were given lots of jobs to do at home.
No.
Yeah.
I was told by my dad, you don't have to do anything. These boys can do it. You are not a maid. Take your books and study.
Okay.
Oh, wow.
Yes. So my mom was very strict and my dad was the soft one. I don't know because I was the only girl, but he was very tough.
That's usually what
Yes, with the boys. But I am very fortunate to have such parents. My brothers were very protective over me, but they guided me.
Were they
also.
older or younger?
I was the fourth child.
Okay.
So I had 3 older brothers and then I had a last-born brother. But my mom also adopted a 2-month-old baby
Okay.
along the road. So we had a last-born.
Okay.
And I think he was the most spoiled.
No, that's usually the
Yes.
case. So, Catherine, it's interesting that you bring up both your parents because as a police officer, you must have realized very early on that part of the big problem that we have that nobody talks about in this country, or when we talk about it, we kind of give it lip service, is that people's family units have broken down. So many of the criminals, so many of the bad influences in society come from the basic breakdown of the family. There isn't a dad maybe, or the dad and the mom don't get along, or the dad abuses the mom, or, it starts there. It's not like there's just this bizarre, some luck, some unlucky people. There's a lot to do with the family that's gone wrong in this country.
Yes, there's a lot of broken families.
Yeah.
Families broke down and then it has a bad influence on kids also because who's going to give guidance if there's only one parent? And sometimes, I don't want to generalize, most of those households are female-headed households where absent dads don't care. For me, it was a good experience to live in our house because there was a lot of values that both parents instilled in us.
And even though your dad was working so hard, he was very much present.
Yes, very much present. We know where you were in the country. When he arrives on Friday, I can remember vividly, I was sitting on our stoop and I'm waiting for my dad to come with his green car. Always I know he will bring me Smarties, and Smarties were the eat sweets on that time. So growing up there, I saw a lot of crime. And I think the incident that pushed me to become a police officer, I think I was in grade 8 and I saw how someone was murdered in our street and the whole community was quiet. No one wanted to say anything because you will be a villain in the community if you speak up. I think it happened around about 8 o'clock at night and I stood at our gate and I saw everything. So
Was the person stabbed, shot?
He was killed with stones and anything. So when the police visit our street, me and an uncle opposite us, we saw. And the uncle went and he to speak the truth because I was underage. I couldn't say anything. And that urged me to say, I'm going to make a difference in society that this thing won't happen. Murder was such a big issue in the community.
Yeah.
You will just wake up Saturday morning, this one was stabbed to death, this one was killed.
Yeah.
And I said, I'm going to take myself out of that community and do something else to see if I can stop this murders in the community.
That's quite a brave thing to do. Again, people who talk about what they see get into sometimes more trouble than the criminal.
Yes.
Because in these communities, they're scared. They don't want to speak out.
Yes, people don't want to speak up because they fear what will happen to their families also.
Yeah, I wonder how much of South Africa's problems are as a result of us keeping quiet. Because people sometimes think, oh, no, stay out of this. It's none of my business. I've got to keep quiet. And then things don't get better. They get worse.
Absolutely.
We've got to have the courage to be able to stand up and point to the people in our communities who are doing bad things and have them arrested.
Yeah, and then growing up with boys, and boys likes to be in the street at night, I will sit up and wait for my brothers to come home what time of the morning. Because this thing of in the morning wake up and you hear someone is dead was so bad for me as a child.
Did it make you extremely anxious as a little girl?
Yes.
Waiting for your brothers?
Yes, and I was the one that always opened the door for them to come home, and then I know I'm at ease, they are safe at home. So That was in the late 80s.
Mm.
And then both of my brothers moved to Namibia because at that time Namibia was still part of South Africa.
Yes, that's right.
And
Southwest Africa.
yes, and they worked in Namibia. They also went into the security environment. I don't want to speak about that. But they've teach me to be a disciplined police officer. I remember the day that I went to college, one of my brothers, he was packing my bags. He put the washing bags in the pantyhose, the polish, and I polish. I need to get menorah blades. And I didn't understand, why do I need these things? And then he sat me down and said, this is how you clean your shoes. This is what you will do, this and this. So they packed my bags to leave to the police college.
So you were more prepared than you would have been if you didn't have that guidance.
And I grew up in the house where my dad was very politically advanced for his age.
Okay.
So he teaches us a lot about the politics of South Africa and Africa as a whole.
And I mean, in the 80s, obviously, it was a very different world to the South Africa we're in now, right?
Yes, it was very different.
And as a colored woman then, you looked at the opportunities ahead of you and you thought, well, this is limited.
Yes, it was.
Because you were told, like, there are certain jobs you just won't be able to get.
Yes, and especially growing up in that community and the political environment in that era.
But even in the police, I mean, that was very political.
Very, very much so.
Because if you went into the police, you were almost helping the bad guys, the government.
Yes, and not that you are a villain in your society.
Yes.
Because why are you not a teacher? Because I remember when I was in matric, the teachers will come to you and say, this is the forms to apply for bursaries. You will go to University of Western Cape or the Technikon. You must be a teacher, or you must be a nurse, or you must go and work at Colored Affairs, or you must go there. So I opt to say, I was the only one that said, I'm going to join the police. So and at that time, the first platoon of colored women joined in 1981.
Sure.
And I matriculated in 82.
Hmm.
So while in matric, I applied to be a police officer, but I was not recruited. They took another girl. And then my dad's job moved him to George. This is where we relocated to. In George, with the help of someone, I got a job at Colored Affairs as a clerk.
Was there a bad reaction to you saying that you wanted to be in the police?
Yes, I remember the teacher that gave us another subject was saying, you are going to be nothing. Because why do you want to join the police? Because our school was very much into politics.
But you also were doing well at school.
Yes.
You had great marks. You're one of the really smart kids. And so they were disappointed you wanted to go.
Yes, because I was supposed to be a teacher like the rest of my class, because most of my peers are teachers. Some of them are principals, school principals today. So when we moved to George, I remember one night I sat with my mom and said, I still want to be a policewoman. So I then, at that age of 19, was a very brave girl. I wrote a letter to the then apartheid national commissioner.
Wow.
I don't know. I can't even remember. Was it Van der Merwe or who else? I wrote and said, I want to be a policewoman. So I never went to any police station to say, I want to apply. I wrote a letter to
the commissioner.
To the national commissioner. My mom went with me to the post office. We bought the stamp and we posted the letter.
Not shy, huh?
No. And then I worked, like I said, at this Colored Affairs, the Home Affairs entity. By December 83, someone came to our house, the special branch police, and said, and my mom was saying, what did the boys do now?
Oh, no.
God,
remember?
Frightening.
Yeah. So this colored guy and a white guy came to our house, special branch. They said, are you the girl that applied for the police? And I was very brave. I said, yes. And at that stage, I read a lot of biographies on politics. Yeah, I went to the library and I was searching for books to read. And the special branch has this label attached to them. But I was not scared. I said, yes, I applied because I want to be a policewoman. So they went to our church. They called the school and my friends to say, am I good to be a policewoman?
Oh, wow. They're putting you through your tests.
It was tough. So that was December. By January, they came back and say, unfortunately, your application is too late for the January group, January till June group. But your application is still valid. So now during that period from January to June, I had to go so many times to the doctor to check if I'm good, if I'm not pregnant, all those stuff you had to
Right.
go
They
through.
used to have a very strict selection process.
Yes. And then while working, I think a week before I left to college, they came again to me and said, you need to resign within 24 hours at this job.
What
that
were you
have."
doing then in between?
I was a clerk
Oh,
at
yes.
Home
at the Cadet
Affairs, yeah.
Affairs, yeah.
So I had to resign 24 hours because the Saturday I had to hop on the train and go to Cape Town.
Is that where the training college was?
Bishop Lavis in Cape Town.
Right.
Not ever went in a train. My mom went with me to the police station now to get my train ticket. So remember the party days, the police station had 2 doors.
Right.
Whites only and whoever only on the other side. So I walk into the wrong door. So this guy starts.
It's a great way to start.
Yeah, this guy started
Good day
shout
one.
at me. What do you want? Why are you in this side? And I look at him. I said, I'm here to fetch my train ticket to go to the police college. And then he looked, and then a colored warrant officer walked past and said, are you the student that must go to the college? I said, yes. Can I please get my ticket?
Yeah.
So while handing over the ticket now, this white guy came to me and said, when you come back from college, you must work with us. I said, I will never work with you. You don't have manners. Remember
Good.
There we
that
go.
was 1984 in the heat of
Jeez.
Yeah.
the turmoil in South Africa. So my mom now we have to walk from the police station to the train station. There was no taxis. My dad is not around. My mom can't drive. So we walk.
Hmm.
And it was winter. It was cold. I remember I had a black coat on and we walked to the train station. So scared. I never traveled in a train. So I get into the train, bye-bye to mommy, and then off to Belleville. I never slept the whole night in the train. I was sitting straight. And in the train were a lot of soldiers that also traveled to Cape Town. And they were doing their soldier things up and down in the train. I was sitting with an old lady in that train coach, sitting there. Get off from Belleville. Now they come and collect you at the train station to go to the police college. But my brothers mentally prepared me for what is going to happen when I arrived at the college. Still this girl with 2 earrings in the ears. So when I arrived, they said, we don't have time for gangsters. Remove one of your ears, your earrings from your ears.
So you can only wear one earring. in
Only
each-
one earring.
yeah,
This is
yeah.
part of the dress code of the police.
Oh.
Wearing high heels, we were a few girls that they collect. Now you must go with your suitcases with us, with us high heels, and we had a little parade ground. This is where you get you. We had to go and run with high heels on that ground.
Run.
Yes. And then they inducted us into the police.
And the training, was it difficult to go through all that training? Did they put extremely difficult tests and obstacles and things in your way? Were they trying to ascertain who the really smart people were, what you were ready for, what you weren't?
Yeah, we came from different provinces.
Yeah.
I was the first woman of color that joined the police in George.
Okay.
So I came from George. And
That's quite a big deal.
Yeah, I was the first brave one to enter that male
Right.
environment.
And again, that must have got you some funny looks from people, because you were doing something nobody else had done at that point from that
I remember
community.
at that stage, I was not that known in George. We just
Yeah.
arrived 83 in
Right.
George.
So nobody really knew.
No, in 84, I went to college. So I had a small circle of friends from
And
church.
in the training college, did you feel welcome?
You know, coming with different backgrounds into the college, and my brothers mentally prepared me, and they told me how tough it will be. I was ready to take it on. And growing up as the only girl, now I have to share with 17 other girls space.
You were ready for this, though.
Yeah. So it was tough at times. Mentally, it can be very tough. And as goofy as I am, very naughty, I was the first girl that they turned over the bed because I did not make my bed straight enough.
Oh. Yes, they do your inspections every morning.
Yes, I did not know. Remember coming back that I was not so domesticated. You have to fold your
Perfectly.
Hospital corners.
and then my sheet, there must not be something hanging down there.
Yeah.
So mine was hanging there. So my bed was turned over. I was making a joke out of it. I was never personally affected by it because, like I said, my brothers prepared me. But there was a lot of tears, a lot of laughs, a lot of jokes.
And when you got out, you went to Mossel Bay first, right?
Yes.
Because you couldn't work at the George Police Station because they didn't know how to deal with women of color yet.
Yes.
That's what they told you. We don't know how to deal with a woman of color. Imagine that.
And being the first one in that area,
Yeah.
they don't know how to be good. But there was a lot of other people of color at the police stations, at the police station of George, but there was white women, but I couldn't work. I had to go to Mossel Bay. And my parents stay in George. So when I have rest days, I have to ask permission to go home. I couldn't just, when it's time
Couldn't
off,
just
go
leave.
home. I must ask the commander of the police station. Can
So
I
what do you remember about those first years that you were actually an officer doing police work? Did they start you off with office stuff? Did they send you straight out into the field?
Yeah, can I quickly go back to the college? So at college, you also get your theory, and then we have shooting exercises and all those stuff. So I was the best academic female at the college with 94%.
Jeez.
And then they will identify the top 10 of the college, male and female. So I was position number 7, the only female amongst the males. So the day that they called out my name to walk forward, I was just saying, God, what did I do again? Because I was always in the naughty bun.
Meanwhile,
always.
they were giving you a
Yes.
position in the
I
top
was
10.
so shocked. I stood there and I looked at everyone. I said,
How's your
"Okay."
shooting at that stage, Catherine?
I didn't like it, Gareth.
Were you not good?
No. I remember one day we used to have this firearm. Can't remember. We have to shoot. And my plate didn't turn. And this instructor told me, go and kick it over because you can't shoot it over. So I didn't like firearms at all. Even up till today.
Was it the first time you'd held a firearm?
Yes,
or
they
touched one?
they train you how to put it together, to assemble it, and the different type of rounds, different type of firearms. So I did not like it at all. But there was one lady that was the best shooting student, and I was the best academic student. And then you have your overall student.
That's okay. You need all kinds.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, but going back to the station, when you arrived, I remember you are a female now in a men's world.
Yeah.
So when I arrived at that police station, we were 3 females. They arrived before me. The one that attended first, she was one of the first ladies of color. And then the second one, and I was the third one. So your only job for you is to work in the community service center. You were not supposed to work outside. You are female. You work inside behind the counter. You take statements. You do the shift work.
Okay.
So I can't move to George because of people's perceptions and preferences of women.
A bit of racism and sexism.
Yeah. So in 87, they built a police station now in George in the colored community. That is the time that I could go home.
Okay. So you
Yes.
finally got to be back with the family.
Yes. Still the first woman of color that worked at that police station for the longest part.
Right.
So my job started at that police station, and I want to name it Cornwall Police Station in George. And then through the ranks, I became a lance sergeant. And that was also given to me because of good work by my station commander. So he wrote a letter to the national office, and they awarded me that rank. And it was a white captain. So I've worked hard, Gareth. I'm telling you, from day one, I said to myself, I've joined to serve and protect. I did not join for self-interest or to impress other people. So I went through the ranks. I worked at the station. At the later stage, I became the secretary of the station commander. So I did all the admin at the police station, still being the only woman. Later on, we got a typist. At least now we are 2. 2 females at the police station.
Leigh-Ann was a typist for me for a long
So I had to learn fast. There's no training for you at the station. You're already trained at the station. You must at college.
And let's just be clear, even in the social services stuff, you're dealing with some hardcore things. You're dealing with, women coming in reporting rapes. You're dealing with domestic violence issues. You're dealing with communities where things are falling apart. So it's not just because you're sitting in the office doesn't mean you're not dealing with some hardcore stuff.
No.
Right?
And remember, it was during the apartheid years, 84.
Yeah.
Domestic violence was not highlighted in any structure. It's normal thing. Get over it.
Mhm.
Go to church. People will pray for you. You will fix this thing.
Yeah.
It was not a law as now.
Yeah, that's so true.
Yeah.
Sure.
And I don't know if it was worse because it was under the carpet as compared to now. If you can see all the GBV
Mhm.
deaths and assaults that's happening now.
Sure.
So I've worked in all environments at the police station, in everything. I was even investigating dockets also.
What did you like doing the most? And what did you find you were the best at? Was it going out into the field and doing the investigations? Was it doing the administration? Was it running the because I mean you rose in the ranks quite quickly. I mean, by the time you retired, you were a Lieutenant-Colonel.
Do you think it's quickly? We will get there.
Well, okay.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
it seems like you
I-
won. Let me just show people this quickly because you won Policewoman of the Year in the Northern Cape. You were the second runner-up in Policewoman of the Year in the Free State. And in the Free State, you also received an acknowledgement as Heidedal. I've been to Heidedal with you, of the year. And it seems to me like, in the police, prior to 94, they had a very different system to what they had after. And you said you knew a bit about the political system, but the police became very political.
Yes.
So it wasn't necessarily just about the hard work sometimes, because people would be advanced depending on who they knew before and after 94.
Definitely so. I participated in all the courses that was available for me. I wrote my exams to elevate you in the ranks also.
Sure.
But the promotion policies changed throughout the years. It was not the same as previously, that you automatically get promoted. Now you must apply for posts.
Yeah.
And then the correct candidate will be chosen for those posts. But I've joined, like I said, to serve and protect my communities. I loved more to work with people and to empower people and to assist people and guide people. So I was working like in the community service center. Like I said, I work all the environments. At a later stage, I also became in the George area, the first woman of color to be a station commander at the rank as a warrant officer.
Sure.
At a small farming station. And that also groomed me. I remember 1999, I received a certificate as the best warrant officer station in Western Cape. Not having a lot of personnel. I've done most of the stuff myself.
How many people were working with you there?
We were four. At
Four
a
of you.
small police station
Okay.
called Nelsport. On your way, Three Sisters, there's a turn off. So at that stage, there were warrant officer stations, and the area commissioner decided to empower us also now to move into the areas to become station commanders.
Right.
So at a young age, I started as a station commander, and I did the job of a station commander for 28 years. That is the post that I love the most in the police.
Okay. Why was that?
It gave me the opportunity to engage with communities and also to guide my people that work under my command to do the right thing. Not for yourself, for the community. So I started at a young age, but I've worked at the inspectorate where we do inspections at police stations. I worked for 5 months when I came to Gauteng at the national office at the training environment where I was responsible to compile exam papers for people that were at the training colleges also.
That's interesting stuff.
So in essence, you did become a teacher of sorts eventually anyway.
Yes, and I believe I've had it in me to be a teacher, but in the police, but not a teacher
at school.
But my teachers want me to be. I became a teacher in the police.
What did you think of other people? You've given us your reasons for going into the police, but is that true for everybody? Are there some people who go into the police because they have other motives? Are there people who go into the police because they don't know what else to do and it seems like a good idea? I mean, because when you're a station commander, you also have to figure out, why is this person here? What do they really want out of the job? Not all of them wanted to serve the community and engage.
People have their own reasons why they joined.
Sure.
I cannot speak on behalf of other people.
No, sure.
But as you go through, you can really see this one doesn't belong here. Maybe it was just a job opportunity. And as jobs are so scarce, people see the only avenue, let me go and join the police. But wherever I've worked, I've encouraged my people to study. Go and empower yourself. As I left my current station, I have one person with an honors degree. I have people with BA. There's people that have diplomas. One's made promises now to me to say, you have encouraged others to stay. I'm going to enroll also to stay, to study.
Yeah, you see, the reason I'm asking you is because I don't doubt any of that stuff for a second, because I've known you a little while, and it appears obvious to me that you would want to help people. You'd want to make sure that they advance themselves and, exploit the opportunities that are thrown at them and all those kind that they have to seek for themselves. But all we hear in the news is bad stuff. All we hear in the news is that the police are underpaid, that there's no motivation, that it's a hard job, the hours are long, the job is tough on your mental health, it's tough on you physically. And we, as citizens,
you're not respected.
Yeah, and we look at this and we think, well, why would anyone want to be a police officer?
Yes, what you say is true, Gareth. It's what you make of it. There's a lot of bullying also that happen. We cannot deny it. But I made myself, if I set a goal for me, I did not join because of you. I've joined to serve and protect the police. Yes, there's bad stuff, but there's also good stuff that happen. But normally the bad stuff overshadow the good stuff that's happening in the police. I'm not going to sit here and dismiss the police are so bad. There's good stuff also. But people are bad and bring bad things into the police. And we cannot deny it. The image of the police needs to be changed by police people. The community cannot change it. When you are a seasoned police officer and you joined for the good, you need to do good to the community.
Yeah.
You cannot go there for self-interest and elevate yourself to have money in the police
and power.
And abuse your power sometimes also. Like I said, I've worked at different police stations. I remember when I became an officer in Uppington. I went back to Uppington and I was the first female station commander, that police station. I've worked hard in the community, but people can derail you also sometimes. I can't remember, was it 2005 or 2004?
Okay.
That I received a good compliment of the Judge President of Northern Cape also, where I had the most arrests for my station for petty crimes, because my view was also root out the petty crimes, then you will get to the bigger crimes also.
Yeah, it's that idea of
the
broken window syndrome.
Yeah,
right?
that Giuliani of New York.
Giuliani, correct.
Yeah.
He said, if you notice a broken window and you do nothing about it, then the neighborhood just gets worse and worse.
Yes.
And more terrible things will start to happen. So you fix the broken window.
Yes. And that is also the period that Baby Tsapang, the rape of Baby Tsapang came out.
Oh my God, what a horrible story.
Yes, but it did not happen in my station area. It was my neighbor's station. So there's a lot that I've done. I remember I've established a safe house in Uppington with the assistance of a NGO.
Yeah.
In the community, whenever we have domestic violence cases and there's no shelter, we take the woman there. And then from the station, we try to feed that person for the night also. So the next morning, this person can move wherever she wants to go.
But Catherine, when you are station commander in a place like Uppington, what are the things you're most busy with? Because you mentioned that you did the most arrests at your station for petty crimes, like theft probably, and that sort of thing. What are the big issues in a community like that? What are the really serious issues that you tried to come to grips with and to sort out?
Violence.
What kind of violence?
Assaults.
Really?
Assaults and abuse of liquor, domestic violence, and just the ills in the community. I don't think the police is the entity to address those societal intents, issues in the community. We need to have joint structures with social development, Department of Education, Department of Economic Affairs to get involved and give people jobs so that they can keep themselves. And then also the uncontrollable youth.
So let's just talk about this for a second. And the reason I bring it up is the same reason I brought up that you were raised by your father and mother in a certain way and raised with discipline and given a good grounding. Because if you have that, you can go into any job one day and you'll be able to find a purpose. But I wonder about the real social problems, and the police know these things because you're dealing with it at the coalface.
Yes.
You're dealing with people coming in there where they've got domestic abuse, they've got alcohol abuse, drugs are a big issue with young people. And it starts with that. And some people get trapped and they never get out of that. And then there's violence and there's gangsterism and there's all kinds of stuff that comes out from there. And it's not just in Uppington, it's all over the country.
Yes.
Because you've worked all over South Africa.
Yeah, I've worked in, this is my 4th province. Be available as a station commander. It's very important for your community. You cannot say, it's weekend, I'm off, don't call me.
Yeah, so how many hours a day do you have to spend in the station as a station commander?
According to our administrative processes, you work from 8 o'clock till 4 o'clock. Normally at 6 o'clock, I was at the police station.
You were still there?
I was still in the morning. I'm still there.
Oh, right. You
My
get
kids
there
were
extra early.
prepared to go to school. I'm early, so before the staff arrive, I'm settled in.
Sure.
You have to go 4 o'clock. Sometimes I'm leaving 5 o'clock.
Yeah.
So
and then you have to be on your phone all the time as well.
you have to listen to your peers or your supervisors, and then you also have the community that can call you at any time. So you have to be available.
And are the community very engaged with the police?
I established structures at the police station. I had Women Against Crime. I had the CPF, the Community Policing Forum, and I had the Youth Brigade at my station also. So I was very much involved, and I draw in my members to be involved because I cannot be the only person to be involved with the structures at the police station. So as a station commander, you need to think out of the box. You need to be available. But you also have to balance your family life at the other.
Yeah, of course, because you have kids.
Yeah, you have kids. And I left Uppington and then I went to other areas. I went to the inspectorate team that I said for inspections. But my aim was to get to Free State to put my kids in the university. Within 7 months, I arrived in Free State and put my son first to university. My daughter went to high school in Free State.
I'm amazed at how the police does as an institution, as an arm of kind of civil society stroke government, because the police is a vehicle for people to make a life for themselves as police officers, and because they can move you around, there are opportunities that open up, and I like that because we often think of it as like a really difficult career, but there are not a lot of prospects. And you said earlier you'll talk about promotions. We'll get to that in a second because it's not so straightforward. What was the toughest community you were in?
Bloemspruit in Bloemfontein.
Why was that especially hard?
It's a lot of informal settlements.
Yeah.
The environmental structure of that area was not good at all. Sometimes you can't drive with a vehicle into the area.
Why is that? Because it's houses built on top of each
yes,
other.
And
there's no space.
There's
no streets.
No infrastructure.
No infrastructure.
No lights.
Yeah.
And then we had to operate during the night. We have to go and patrol and do everything. And the murders were bad. The domestic violence were bad. But I worked there for, I can't remember, 2 years. And then they put me in charge of the administrative environment because I did have the expertise of that. And then they approached me to say, Heidedal Police Station doesn't have a station commander. Are you prepared to go into that environment? I said, yes, I'm a trained station commander. I've already went through the courses being a station commander also. So I moved to Heidedal.
Well, that's when I met you.
Yes, this is where you met me, in Heidedal. Same environment, a lot of poverty.
Tough, and very tough. Dangerous,
drug
difficult.
Infested, not gang infested, but drug infested.
Drugs. And young people with nothing to do.
Yes, very much so. It was. But I made the police station like a haven for everyone to come to me with whatever challenge they have. They will come and enter the police station and say, we have this challenge. Can you please help us out? It's not a police job, but I will pick up my phone and call the Department of Education. I will call social development. I will call whoever that this person needs assistance. I remember there was one school in Heidedal. I don't want to name the school, but they remember they have this, how they classify schools, quintile 1, quintile 2, or I can't remember.
I don't know how that works.
Yeah, some get government subsidy, some don't get.
Oh, okay.
That
All right. So it's
thingy.
just, okay, got
So
you.
there was one school where the kids were so poor. I remember I had a project where I managed to give school shoes to the needy children at school also. And then we approached the department about this classification of schools. With the help of the community structure, the school governing body in the department, that school was exempted for the kids to pay school fees.
Sure.
A couple of
I mean,
comments.
that's going beyond, way beyond your job.
For sure.
Especially the part where you say you would call the educational department on their behalf. How many times do we as citizens walk into a government building or a municipality building and the answer is just, no, you're in the wrong place. Never, this is where you should go, or here's the number, or let me call for you. Such an important thing.
There are a few comments here. Azalea says, my mum lives down the road from that police training college in Bishop Lavis you were talking about. It's still there and still operational, she says. Can you please, Carl wants to know, talk about the training of police now as opposed to when you started? What's it like now? How much has changed?
I think the syllabus of them changed. I'm not so into the training, what's happening at the training colleges now. Remember in our period, we didn't have rights. We would just say, you'll wake up and you'll do this and we follow the rules. I don't know what's happening.
Now they get cotton pillows and they get a lunchbox packed for them. And if they're
Egyptian
not, if they need a rest day because they're feeling a bit tired, they can have a rest day. You guys it was tougher in your day.
With us, it was very tough. And I remember our blankets were those gray blankets.
Yeah, I remember those blankets.
And like I said, I was very goofy and very naughty. Sometimes I didn't sleep on my bed because I don't want to make it. I slept on my trunk.
Really?
My bed too, not to be turned around again. I slept on my trunk. But you had to make the best out of your police training. What's happening now, I cannot talk about it because I'm not exposed.
Did you make a lot of friends, by the way?
Yes, we were 18 girls. We are 17. One passed away. And July last year, we had our reunion. We went to Mossel Bay.
How many years reunion?
38 years. No, 39 years, our reunion. We met up in Mossel Bay. We stayed for 3 or 4 days. And nothing changed between us. The love was still there. We're still good friends. I was telling them to say, yes, life has put us up and down, but we are still here. And I think 3 or 4 is still working today.
Oh, wow.
I think 4 of them is still in the rest.
But now you all have mandatory retirement age, right? So
yes. Some left early, some left for medical reasons. Like I said, one retired now. The 31st she's retiring, so there's a few.
Hugh wants to know. Hugh says, huge reaction is his name.
Huge.
He says, what was the most shocking crime you ever witnessed or heard of occurring during your time?
Of recently,
yeah,
I attended a crime scene where 2 people were killed in Ivory Park.
Yeah.
There's no leads, there's nothing. I've attended a few of those scenes. But the worst one that I ever attended was while I was a warrant officer station commander in Nelsport in Western Cape, an accident where 6 or 7 people died. And there was one early in my career in Mossel Bay where 11 people died due to an accident.
Are those horrible just because of the carnage?
The carnage, it was bad. And then they couldn't identify the bodies.
Wow.
And then they said, us that were on duty must go to the mortuary and check if we don't recognize some of them. And the bodies were so badly damaged. I stood at the door and I walked out. I said, I'm not going to get into that place. And it came out one of the guys that passed away did not stay far from where my family stayed in George. They found a pay slip in his pocket and then they identified him and he stayed close to us. And then the other one that was worst for me, as I said, I was the only female, but females started to join after me. This girl was a good netball player. She could have been a South African netball player.
Yeah.
She wasn't shot and killed by the boyfriend with her own firearm. That was worse, and all of us were on duty. We couldn't do anything. He locked her in the house and he killed her. Now we have to go to the mortuary to identify it. I refused. That was the worst in my career.
No, because you knew the person.
Yeah, and I think 2 years ago also, I attended the killing of a policewoman. I look at my picture yesterday while I was sitting on the stoop at the shop. She was just shot and killed for no reason by a robber. So those stuff, the death of people was worse for me in my career.
I'm sure. Listen, I've got to tell you the story quickly. You talk about the morgue. So there's a picture. It's not of the exact thing that happened, but apparently in 1993, and I just want to hear your thoughts on this, an incident unfolded involving a 24-year-old South African called Sipho William Mdletshe and his fiancée. They were in a devastating car accident. His fiancée survived while he sustained injuries that were so severe that the first responders on the scene thought he was killed and he was fatally wounded. Consequently, he was taken to the morgue. For 48 hours, this guy was confined in a cold metal cabinet at the morgue, and against all odds, he miraculously regained consciousness, and he began desperately crying for help and pounding on the inside of the morgue tray that he was in. Eventually, they rescued him, and he was reunited with his fiancée, who was understandably shocked to see him alive. She'd been told he was dead. But he was alive, and he banged on the door until they opened it up. He was in there for 48 hours. Can you imagine?
Like no fluids, no food, nothing.
How terrible is that?
I don't want to read those stuff because I'm very claustrophobic. Just imagine myself in that thing. I don't use lifts at all because I'm too claustrophobic.
Wow.
Really? So you always use the stairs?
Even if it's 9 floors, I will walk. I don't go into that thing because I'm always having the fear. I can't get out.
Did you walk around in that uniform with pride because you'd earned your rank, you were respected in your community? I mean, a lot of police people don't feel the same way, but I'm sure you did.
Very proudly.
Yeah.
Very proudly. And we would teach the way to walk.
Yes? How does that work?
And how to wear your handbag. Remember, I'm coming from the old regime.
Yes.
While at college on Wednesdays, we had a grooming session.
Yes.
That we had to go to a certain lady. She was training models in Cape Town.
Yeah.
So she will train us how to stay a woman in this environment.
Oh, that's clever. Because otherwise you lose your femininity because you're doing all this masculine stuff the whole time.
So we had to, always your right hand must be not occupied by anything because you can come across someone that you have to salute.
Yes.
We were not allowed to go and shopping.
With shopping bags.
Your bag must always be in your left hand.
And they taught you how to walk properly.
Yes, properly.
Deportment.
Yeah.
Right?
We walk.
I remember I had to attend a similar class in my journalism studies.
Really?
Yeah.
Didn't work for you. Though. I've seen you carrying, I've seen you schlepping bags.
Yeah. So this old lady on Wednesday, she teaches us because in the police we walk left, right, left, right, left, right. Ne? And then she teach us to walk right, left when you are outside the uniform. You must walk on another. This is what she teaches us.
Wow. These are the things we don't know that the police learn.
So I don't know if they still do it, but every Wednesday we had this. And I want to pay homage to Lieutenant General Jefta and Major General Passon. They also retired.
Okay.
They were our platoon sergeants and our PT instructors. So the one stayed with us and she kept us away with everything. But inside that, we were also naughty. Breaking camp that you are not supposed to do.
Yeah.
So we had to sometimes also be naughty but you had to be disciplined. And I remember my mom instilled on us to read. Always had books.
Everything.
Magazines. So while I was at college, my newspapers were delivered at college. So every day I got my Afrikaans newspaper, The Burger. On Sundays I get the report because English newspapers were not so available. And I remember one Sunday they did not deliver my newspaper. And in Bishop Leyvers, I just walked out of the gate and I went and I bought my newspaper.
And you weren't meant to?
No, I was not supposed to. And when I came back, the duty sergeant found me walking in. And he said, now I must be punished. I told him, read the newspaper. You can give it back to me after you read it. Please don't punish me. So I walked back to the barracks and then I got my newspaper back from him. A lot of naughty stuff that we did, but it was like
Well, it's not
Just-
like you set the place on
Yes,
fire.
It
you
makes
know?
no. It makes your period at the college more nicer for you.
Of course.
Because 6 months.
You're a
it's-
human being. You're not a machine.
Yeah, 6 months was. It could have been a long time. I remember I went twice home in that period. in the
Now,
6
now,
months.
what about this? Carl says, please ask Catherine's opinion on cops being too fat. Do you have something to say about
I had that journey. It's tough.
Yeah,
But I've managed to take myself back and I'm attending the gym.
very good.
Yes. So I've lost a lot of kilos. But now the police officers are they got special prizes at the certain gyms that the National Commission
Yes, just recently.
announced it
Correct.
recently.
Last year they
Just
announced
join the
this.
gym
So,
and
Catherine,
stay healthy.
we've only got a couple of minutes here. I
Yeah.
just want to find out what you're up to now because you've retired. So you were joking. You said to me you're only on a SASA grant now. But what happens now for you? Because you're still a person who can add so much value. You're not finished yet. You're young. I know people who are still working much older than you. So what are you going to do?
Yeah, now I want to share you a little story. I went recently to Cape Town to my son, and at a certain mall, they have parking space for disabled people, and they have parking space for parents with kids, and then senior pensioners. So my son said to me, "We are going to the mall." And then he parked. He said, "Today we are parking close to the door." And I did not understand. And then we got out of the car, and then the car guard came and said, "Why are you parking here?" My son was saying, "This one is a pensioner." He refers to me. And this guy looked at me and he didn't believe me. And I took out my ID and said, "Yes." And then we walk off. I said, "My son, why did you expose your mother?" He said, "Yeah, you must accept that you are a pensioner now."
But they didn't think you were old.
No.
Yeah. Well, this is what I'm saying. You've still got a lot of energy.
I am relocating to Cape Town very soon
Very good.
because now I can be with my family.
You told me you were house hunting this weekend.
Yes, I
Okay.
did. And I have this small little thingy that I'm doing that kept me busy throughout my career that I can paint. I can do
nice.
some decoupage stories. So
Lovely.
I'm going to do that. But I also going into another area, maybe. I'm not sure yet.
Yeah.
But I would love to join an NGO still to empower women in the community.
I think that's a very good idea.
Yes,
I think
so
you have lots
I'm
to
looking
give.
forward to my new life in Cape Town. I'm 4 minutes away from the beach.
And you said your son lives there, but your daughter is in China.
Yes, she's 7 years in China now.
What's she doing there?
She's teaching English, maths, and science.
Very good.
Yes, she's staying in Beijing, somewhere in Beijing.
Sure.
Yeah. I thank God for the life of my family and my kids. I think during this thing, being a mom, a station commander, I've tried to put them on the straight line. But I was always saying you lose so much out that you are not available for your kids. And now they are adults. They are no longer kids.
Yeah.
Try to bond with them. You're making a nuisance of yourself. They have their own lives. Mommy, I'm busy. I can't talk to you now.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, but I remember during World Cup 2010,
Yeah.
I worked for nearly 19 days night shifts without getting off.
Wow. So you must have been exhausted when that finished.
When I get home, I'm a mom. I'm a wife.
So you still had work to do.
Yes, and my daughter was at university there, and her classes start at night, so I had to transport her to university. Coming back to Heidedal, where we met Gareth, it was a good experience for me. I love that community, but I had to take care of myself and move to Joburg also. And this is where I met you and the team. I remember my interview one morning when you worked somewhere else, 6 o'clock in the morning. I was on air with you.
Yeah.
And someone called me very high up in the structure, say, you are on the radio. I've listened to your chat with Gareth. I said, did I do anything wrong? No, I'm just proud of you. I said,
That's
"Okay,
lovely.
thank you."
That's lovely.
Yeah. So
Jody says, stomach in, chest out. That's how officers must look.
yes, and I occur when I'm outside now, but inside they must do it. I now at my last station, Sabenza,
Yeah.
we are 3 or 4
Where's Sabenza?
in Kempton Park area.
Okay.
Yeah. So we keep tabs on each other. 3 of them are runners. I'm doing the gym, eating healthy.
Fantastic.
So every day they will call me. What did you do today? What
Right.
did you eat? So we keep tabs on each
It's a
other.
bit of a family, the police,
Yes,
right? I mean, I went to the ballistics and the lab in Pretoria the other day. and everybody kind of asks each other about their kids. It's very much a family. It's an extended family community.
And I am happy to live at a very high point of my career.
Yes.
I left a very family-orientated police station. One called me yesterday to say, I know we need to let go, but we miss you. And I also miss them.
That's very sweet.
I started a vegetable garden at the police station. I think they are busy harvesting now. And those vegetables must go to the needy people, to an old age home, and to a disabled home.
Well, I think you've done more than plant a vegetable garden.
Yeah.
You've planted seeds that will grow trees, the shade of which you won't sit in, but that will help people ahead of you.
But I am happy to be out now to live my next journey. But
Well,
I will
we're-
miss people.
We're very happy to have spent some time with you this morning. So
Thank
thank
you
you
so
very
much,
much.
Gerard.
And it's lovely to see you.
Yes, I'm very privileged to be on your show. I always listen to your show.
Thank you.
But thank you
Catherine.
so much also for what you've done in my life.
Well,
Although it was
it's
not.
not a lot. It's hardly
but
anything.
I value your presence in my life.
But I just want to
also.
show people there's your cake when you left. They made a cake out of a policewoman's hat. It's very impressive. And then this is your platoon back in 1984. Hey,
Guess where I am?
look at that. Which one is you?
Right at the front.
No,
At the back.
The
There.
last one.
The last one
On
on
your
the back.
left-hand side.
Wow. That's you, huh?
Yes.
Look at
This
you.
was
That's you?
that's me.
That's fantastic.
Yes.
So that was also 1984.
That was 85.
Sure, that's incredible.
And this is the uniform that we used to wear
Yeah.
in the winter. We never had trousers like now and boots and stuff.
Yeah.
Cold winter, you will go like this and walk on a roadblock at Pente House.
Well, listen, you've done good work, and thank you for your service.
Yeah.
And I get to say that.
Thank you so much. But I also want to thank the police for allowing me to be a police officer. And I never deviate from my target to say I want to serve and protect. No matter the turmoil, no matter not being promoted, I don't care. I've served the community.
I'm very happy to hear
Yes.
that.
Thank you
Thank
so
you,
much.
Catherine, and thank you, everybody. We will see you tomorrow at 6 a.m.